Welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Dr. Debi Lynes here today with Dr. Drew Matthews. We're so excited to talk with you. In case you're wondering why we're outside, because it's summer, and if we can't be in the environment that our visitors are in, shame on us, right?
Yeah.
You're the director of the emergency department here at Hilton Head Hospital, and I think it's really exciting to be able to kind of take you out of your coat and your environment and put you here and talk a little bit about what the summer may hold for us when it comes to trips to the emergency department. I think I shared with you I have 10 grandchildren, and I'm 70, so kind of we span the ages. And I'm so curious about here in the Lowcountry some things that you think we need to be aware of when it comes to summer.
Yeah.
My first thought is heat.
Of course, I mean, summer's here, so we all want to spend time outside and come to the great island of Hilton Head and enjoy the beach and enjoy the golf courses. But unfortunately, along with that comes the heat, and comes critters that are running around everywhere, whether it be our lovely alligators or our snakes, or even our no-see-ums, as they call them, or mosquitoes. They're all here, just like we are.
Let me ask you a broad spectrum question. What would you say the criteria are for a trip to the emergency department?
Right, well, that's always a challenge.
Okay.
People always ask, do I need to go to the emergency department?
Correct.
And I don't think there's an easy answer for that, in all honesty. It's really a personal decision. If you're concerned whatsoever, we can alleviate any kind of fears that you have. That's important. If you have a physical ailment, we can hopefully treat those and make that better. That's important. So it's really a combination of psychological and physical problems. Whatever you think you need help with, we can take care of.
Let's talk about heat. At what point in time do I need to worry about heat? It's funny, as I've gotten older, I love the heat, much less tolerant, but I'm not sure that I would know if I were really in trouble.
Yeah, well, you're less tolerant because as we get older, we just have less reserve. And typically we're on medications that kind of inhibit our ability to compensate. So we have exertional heat, which is the typical
like if I'm running, right?
So the football player collapse on a football field.
Got it.
That's pretty easy to identify. But as we get elderly, it's a little bit different. Not that you're elderly.
I know, perish the thought.
A little bit different, more risk. So we have kind of different stages of it: heat exhaustion, heat cramps. But if we just put it into one category, heat illness, and then the more severe heat stroke. Heat illness is not neurological findings, so not confused, not having altered mental status. Heat stroke is an emergency. It needs to be rapidly cooled. Below that, then certainly fluids, get out of the heat into an air-conditioned environment. And typically after 2 hours or so of being in a better climatized area, you should feel better and have more energy. Again,
is that a trip to the emergency department?
Not necessarily. I think you can give it time if you're not having any confusion, no altered mental status. You can give it time to see if you can improve how you feel in an air-conditioned environment. And fluids. Fluids is always important.
What causes heat stroke? What is the actual mechanism of action?
Literally our core temperature is just elevated. We just don't have the ability to compensate enough. So heat stroke is a combination of things. So dehydration can predispose you to heat stroke.
Got it.
So drinking, usually we say about 6 cc's per kilogram before you go out, but that's a hard one to remember for people who don't do cc's and kilograms. I don't know how to convert that, sorry. But drink a lot of fluid before you go out to do any kind of exertion. That's the more common we see exertional heat stroke.
Do you want people drinking water, Gatorade? Do you care?
The better is actually electrolyte containing fluids. So a Gatorade is great, not to say anybody. Some type of fluid that is not just water. Water is good too, and we need to really maintain our hydration because we sweat it out. The kind of misconceptions is that heat stroke is they stop sweating. This is not true. These people will sweat. So they'll be sweating and all of a sudden be confused. And if you're in the right environment, you got to think heat stroke. That's a 911 call.
Oh, is it a 911 call?
Oh, heck yes. So we will treat on the scene. I'm also the EMS medical director on the island. And we will actually cool you on the scene. So we'll apply ice baths. Right now, kind of, I guess, odd, but we don't have a bath that we carry with us.
Like a polar plunge.
So so we kind of put you in a body bag only to get you cold and put ice in there. We feel like we cool you down rapidly. And if we can't take your temperature, the only way to accurately gauge your temperature is unfortunately through the bottom. So we don't have any other reliable ways by skin or by touch, by oral. We don't have the by the bottom temperature, so we will basically gauge on how you start responding. If you start becoming more aware or lucid, then we know we got to the right temperature.
Is anybody more predisposed to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, the elderly are very predisposed because they don't have the reserve, and the medications will adjust it. But also sometimes genetic. We find that people just, if you have one incidence, so I worked at Boston Marathon a couple of years, and we had people that had a heat stroke related illness, and we treated, and it's a high mortality if we don't treat them rapidly. And it wasn't unusual for someone to say, oh, that happened to me last year. And we go, my gosh, you are predisposed. You cannot do these kind of activities.
Don't do it.
So one episode of heat stroke, you really need to be cautious.
Dr. Matthews, we're going to take a quick break here on Healthy Living. We're going to come right back, and we're going to talk about some other things to be aware of during this summer heat, and the beach, the water, the bugs. Stay with us.
The best place.